Hi, it's the Rawsome Vegan Gal here, and today we are going to be doing, or I should say I'm going to be doing, a video on another healthy living topic, and I call it Get Out of Your Rut, Heal Your Gut. Now, I've done a lot of videos in the past with food products that are good for your gut, which is your colon, your intestines, foods that are rich in probiotics and prebiotics, including sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, of course non-dairy yogurt, vegan, and what else? Also tiger nut, which is a prebiotic, and there's a lot of foods that are also rich in prebiotics, such as sunchokes, jicama. Sunchokes are also called Jerusalem artichokes. I'm trying to think what else. I think flax seeds, there's some other products, but there's a lot of different things that can help you, and to include those in when you eat your foods. Oh, also a company called a brand I should say called Sunbiotics that I reviewed. They have prebiotic and probiotic food products, and which are really good. And I will have some of those links below. I have a lot of videos, so I don't know if I can link all of them, but I have videos for fermented food products, about 6 or more, and some other companies. So you can check those out as well. But today we're going to actually be talking about that. And I've got this idea to do this. I found an article in a magazine called Energy Times, and this is from their March 2015 issue. So they have an article by Lisa James called A Gut Feeling. And it says here about how the microbes living within your intestines can affect your mental and emotional well-being. So there's a lot of talk also about gluten, how gluten can affect your body and cause you a lot of problems. Like there are people who've gotten off gluten completely, and you really have to be aware that it can be in so many things that you're not even aware of, even your cosmetics. So it's very important to think about that, especially if you have already some pre-existing condition. And there are people who've gotten off of it, and they've seen their depression go away, their just different things, and then if they had just a little bit of something, like the tiniest crumb, all of a sudden all the symptoms come back, because the body has a memory. So the cells remember, and then they think they're being attacked, so they attack back, so to speak, and they cause different problems. Now, you can get symptoms or itises or illnesses from gluten in any part of the body, because the health of the body starts in the gut. Therefore, it can go anywhere. It doesn't necessarily go one particular place in the body. You know, it affects people differently. So we have to remember that. So, so just like, for example, people who say they have senior moments, that's another interesting topic. Senior moments, you know, brain fog, all these things, it has a lot to do with your gluten. I mean, people don't realize the gluten intolerance is very big, and that's what it's caused from, because those cells permeate. They, you know, leaky gut, they leak out through the gut and they go into the body. So let's see. So just to talk a little bit about more in detail, other things too, you know, Alzheimer's, all these some kind of illnesses all have to have relationship to it. So now you have to look more towards what's going on in the body health-wise, and a lot of people get, you know, tested for that. There's gluten intolerance testing and celiac, and some people have, you know, gluten sensitivities or gluten intolerance or celiac, you know, tendencies or celiac disease. So if you already are dealing with some things, especially if they're chronic, even if they're acute, you know, you should definitely have them tested, because there may even be certain foods that trigger the body to think it's being attacked, like gluten. It's like such a similar chemical composition of the food that it starts to react the same way. So there are some really comprehensive tests. I don't remember their names, but you could probably check out online. They're not cheap, though, but they will give you a very comprehensive view. And there may be foods that you eat all the time that you love, that you think are good, but they're not good for you. So you have to be aware of that. Okay? So the microorganisms that live within your intestines are called the gut flora, or the microbiome. So there is what they call a gut-brain connection, and that's important to remember. So let's see. So this Dr. Miller from Phoenix says that the microbial cells we carry, which colonize our body inside, and outnumber our own cells 10 to 1. So we have more microbial cells than actual cells. We can't live without them, and they cannot live without us. So like he's saying, if I took out your spleen, you'd be fine. If I sterilized your gut, you couldn't survive. So those bacteria, those microbes are very important for us. They affect the brain through pathways known as the gut-brain axis, or the microbiome. The three are inextricably linked. So how does this work? So how it works is that the gastrointestinal tract is equipped with its own nervous system. The neurons in the gut are so innumerable that many scientists are now calling the totality of them the second brain. This is according to David Perlmutter, who's a doctor. And he says that these neurons communicate with the brain via the vagus nerve. And according to a review done by McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, there is now strong evidence from animal studies that gut microorganisms can activate the vagus nerve, and that such activation plays a critical role in mediating effects on the brain and behavior. And this is from Advances in Experimental Medicine and Biology from 2014, so that's just last year. So that's pretty amazing. So to think that that has so much influence on our lives. The digestive tract produces neurochemicals such as serotonin, best known for promoting feelings of well-being in the brain. In the intestines, serotonin is involved in controlling motility and contractions. And so it's something like irritable bowel syndrome, which is marked by pain and bowel irregularities with no obvious physical cause, is now thought to be caused and are maintained by the nervous system, including the brain. A big part of the reason IBS is associated with depression and anxiety is because of the microbiome. It's part of the same problem. So there you go. Everything is connected. So that's why probiotic foods are so important, probiotic-rich foods that have different types of probiotics. Lactobacillus, Bifidobacterium, S. salivarius, and like I said, the prebiotics as well, which are also called fructooligosaccharides. And what they do is they help promote a healthy gut flora and enhance absorption of minerals such as calcium and magnesium. Okay, so continuing on. So the gut microbes are also influence the brain through the interaction with the immune system, including the system's inflammatory response. The microbiome actually educates and modulates the immune system. That can then set off an inflammatory cascade, and that's transmitted to the brain. So it influences your immune system, which has to do with inflammation. Like if it senses inflammation, then it sends a trigger to the brain. There you go. So there's where the gut-brain connection exists. One factor, like I mentioned before, is the leaky gut syndrome, in which a dysfunctional bowel wall allows substances to enter the blood that shouldn't be there. One of the substances is lipopolysaccharide, induces a violent inflammatory response if it finds its way into the bloodstream. But healthy gut flora bolster the intestinal wall's integrity and prevent gut permeability. That's why this is so important, because by keeping your gut healthy, you prevent that from happening. All of these actions represent the microbiome's profound effect on the brain. One study found that gut microbes can induce the brain to produce cravings. In another, a lack of gut flora enhanced anxiety and stress in rats. So there you go. All this it's new to a lot of people, but a lot more people are getting into the subject of the microbiome or the gut flora. So, and then as far as when they're under attack, so from the moment we were born, we start acquiring our gut flora, and they say we're exposed to it when the baby goes through the birth canal. That's when you're exposed to the first organisms, and that's why they say people that are born through C-section, cesarean section, have been dominated by an abundance of potentially harmful bacteria, and the children have triple risk of developing ADHD. So because they don't have a chance to get those microbes through the birth canal. So it has an effect on them. And then being raised in an overly clean environment, often has a result of efforts to defend against harmful organisms, can harm. So yeah, if people use a lot of I'm with my hands, because people use a lot of the antibacterial soaps and antibacterial hand sanitizers, and that's not good, because a little bit of bacteria, of course, yeah, if you're somewhere where people don't clean their hands, just wash your hands well. If your hands get washed just with running water, just coming down on your hands, that will actually take away the bacteria. But all those antibacterial stuff is actually more harmful for us, because don't forget, anything you put on your skin penetrates in your body. So you're offsetting a reaction in your body. Okay? So if it's a very sterile environment, the microbiome is affected. So that's what you're doing. You're creating a sterile environment. You need sterility for certain instances. Sure, if you're doing surgery or a doctor has to fix them, everything has to be completely pristine because you're concerned of something getting. But as far as in general, for your gut, you don't want a sterile. Having a sterile environment is actually not good for it. Unnecessary exposure to antibiotics through both medicine and agriculture don't help matters. The overuse of antibiotics absolutely disrupts the microbiome, and it can have adverse effects both in terms of the microbiome's effect on inflammation and in terms of brain health. So yeah, when you're taking all these medications, now with antibiotics, it's interesting, they have to have like super antibiotics because the antibiotics of old days are no longer effective because they're overused. It's not like, let's say once in a while you needed to take something and then your body is able to build the immunity from it. It fights it off. But if you're consistently using it over and over and over again, the body develops an immunity to it, and then you need something, just like these harmful pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and all the genetically modified, that's all, they have to keep raising the bar, so to speak, on adding more chemicals that are more harmful because the ones that they initially use are no longer effective. The bugs and the pests, as they call them, are now immune to them because they build up a resistance. Okay, stress can also alter the microbiome as well. The effects of chronic stress are felt in the brain, resulting in things such as anxiety, but also felt by the bacteria in the gut. The brain is, through stress, producing imbalance in the gut bacteria, which in turn produces problems in the brain. So it's a continual cycle. It goes back and forth. So between the brain and the gut. So the stress affects the brain, and then it affects the gut. It goes back. The signals keep going back and forth. No one can undo such early influences as having been given a lot of antibiotics as a child, but that doesn't mean microbiome function can't be improved in adulthood. Trauma can be offset by probiotic foods in fermented foods and by prebiotic foods that enhance the probiotic organisms and by the use of probiotic supplements. So you have options to make it better. You can't change what already happened. You already took antibiotics, you already used antibiotics. If you stop doing that and add the good things to your body, then your body builds up. It gets stronger and healthier. So now how you create better microbial balance. So there are thousands of different types of bugs, and we only know more of them by their genetic signatures. 70% of them have not really yet been cultured, so the science is kind of new to that. Because the technology is so new, researchers are only beginning to identify these organisms, so it'll be a long way before they get to know more of them. There is an indirect way to test for poorly functioning floras. I never knew this. This says there's a clinic test for LPS, which is the what did I say they were called? Lipopolysaccharide. This Dr. David Perlmutter does it in his clinic. In people with disorders such as multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, autism, and ADHD, and we find more often than not these markers are significantly elevated for this LPS. Another Dr. Kellerman will test for levels of a fatty acid called butyrate, which is a healthy microbiome, he says a healthy microbiome should be producing a significant amount of it, as well as markers such as zinc and B vitamin levels. So you should have a lot of butyrate in your system, he's saying. But if the levels are low of the zinc and B vitamins, then the microbiome is not healthy. So when you're getting your next blood test done, think about that. So your levels of zinc and B vitamins are low, then that means your microbiome is not healthy. And then if butyrate, which is spelled Butyrate, should be have a significant amount of those. And if you don't, it's a fatty acid, so if you don't necessarily get tested for that, maybe you could ask your doctor to do that. And then the other one was this Dr. David Perlmutter, which you could look him up online and see if, I don't know if you can get the testing done, if he does it or someone else can do it. Okay? And one way to help the microbiome is by avoiding substances that kill off beneficial bacteria. Perlmutter cites unnecessary antibiotic uses and acid-blocking drugs as harmful factors. He said it's a good idea to reduce exposure to environmental toxins as much as possible, especially pesticides and chlorine. So we're getting back to your products that you use in your home. Like I said about cosmetics with gluten, that was an issue, but even chemical-enhanced products. You don't even realize that most people have a sick home because they're putting all these products, using them in their home, and they're breathing them in, and then they keep their windows and everything closed, so you're not circulating the air, so you have all those factors that are making it a sick home, and then they make you sick. So that's important too. And I did do a video actually on called MYO, make your own products, cleaning products. So you could check that out as well. It's prudent to be cautious and assume that they are inflicting damage unless we have solid research to prove otherwise. That's about environmental toxins. Another way to encourage microbial health is through the use of supplemental probiotics. In rodents, it says, I guess they did this test, various formulations have shown the ability to ease stress and encourage greater neuronal plasticity, which is a key factor in cognitive function. Kelman says that just as important is the use of prebiotics, which they fuel and they give fuel and energy to the microbiome. So, like I mentioned before, there's prebiotics, precursors, and then there's the probiotics. So you can get that. Like I say, there's many ways to get that, and there's different foods that it's naturally occurring in. Like, I said Sunchokes, Jicama. There's other things too as well. Besides your probiotics, which is your sauerkrauts, your kimchis. There's a company I did called Jacob's Raw and Zukay Live, ZUKY, which are on my site, and they are in Pennsylvania. So if you live in the East Coast, they actually sell cultured salsa and cultured dressings, and also this drink called Veggie Kvass and a fruit Kvass that are actually also cultured. So you can get all these products that have all the natural hand batch cultures, as well as they sell sauerkrauts and coleslaw, all cultured. So really good, great vegan raw products. And let's see. So then it says, but neither probiotics nor prebiotics will help without significant changes in your diet. So yeah, you do need to change your diet. Do you need to eat more healthier food, get off gluten, most likely. So they're mentioning here fermented foods such as kefir, kimchi, pickles, and fermented vegetables, sauerkraut, and live cultured yogurts. Also, they stress vegetables and healthy proteins. So the other things that have prebiotics, which are inulin, are also, they say here, asparagus, carrots, garlic, leeks, onion, radishes, and tomatoes. I never knew tomatoes have prebiotics. And so when you do this when you change your eating habits, you eat this way, you'll see it produces significant brain improvements as well as weight loss and greater energy levels. When you improve your microbiome, that's the pathway to optimal health. Because like I said, the health does begin in your gut. So let's see, what else can I tell you? Let's see. So they just brought a case study of somebody who had this benefit. She changed her lifestyle. Many researchers believe that microbiome support represents a breakthrough, including its ability to bolster brain function. We are going to have a terrific yield in terms of health, not just length of life, but our ability to lead lives in which we feel well at older and older ages. So Dr. Perlmutter says the body works holistically. We have to step back and say that maybe the answers we've been looking for all these years may lie in the gut. So that's why I say get out of your rut, heal your gut. That's the first place that disease starts from. So all these ideas, the testing, changing your lifestyle, your eating habits, adding more pre and probiotic foods, not using pesticides, chemicals in your home, chemicals on yourself, getting off gluten. All these things are going to help add years to your life, and you'll be amazed because gluten, since the body has mostly an intolerance for gluten, it causes inflammation. Then inflammation can cause weight gain too. That could be the other issue. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things that are can cause this, such as wheat and things that have used wheat gluten. And I heard this once from someone, gluten is like glue because it sticks to you. So it's like, I don't need glue in my colon because what does it do? It doesn't help. It just gets clogged up. So you want to support your health, and I personally love fermented foods. I can eat a whole jar of them. I love any kind of sauerkraut. Not kimchi, but not too spicy. Stuff that's more on the less spicy side than the spicy side. But it's very good. You have a little bit every day or more. Cabbage is also high antioxidants, so that's what sauerkraut is made from. So all these types of things will help you. So I'm going to have some links below. Like I said, we'll have some links below this video to share with you some of the other videos that I've done, and then you can check them out and maybe order some of the products from the companies, and also get some of the prebiotic foods I mentioned. And I will try and make a short list underneath this video too, listing some of the foods that have prebiotics in that you could buy. And maybe you're already eating them, so that's great. You just need to eat more of them to help the gut flora. That helps them get stronger. And you know, our goal is to live a healthy life, and of course long. But you want to be healthy. You don't want to be, you know, crippled or in pain or suffering. So this is something to think about and to look into ways that you can improve your health through improving your gut. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you for watching. It's the Rawesome Vegan Gal.